Morning Becomes Eclectic at 89.9 KCRW. Our guests in studio this morning, the band from Glasgow, Scotland. They're called Dogs Die in Hot Cars. And again, they had literally arrived last night from London. You guys were telling me when we met a little earlier on this morning that not only did you just sort of come in from London, but you'd been over in France, I guess, for a few days before that, and you had to drive from France back over on a ferry to get to the UK to fly here. Why couldn't you just get a flight from Paris?
Why?
It's cheaper.
It's cheaper. Money.
You got to save that $50
Yeah.
or pounds wherever you can. Well, again, we appreciate you coming in. We've been having a lot of fun with the record in recent weeks. And maybe you could just give us a little bit of history on the band. I know that the band is based out of Glasgow now, but where did you sort of start? And I believe the guys got together first before Ruth joined the band. Is that right?
Yeah, we we were just, started out when we were at school. The four of us, the guys, we all went to school together, and
Where was that?
it was on the east coast of Scotland in a small town called St Andrews, which is probably most famously known for being the home of golf. Yeah,
Sure.
and we were just doing, just in a kids at school in a band playing together at the weekends and stuff, and we just kept on doing it, and we wanted to. We moved through to Glasgow because for Scotland it was, and it still is, the place. If you're wanting to do your thing, you go there. And
The mecca of the Scottish rock scene. Now, what kind of stuff were you playing when you were kids? Were you doing covers and stuff? What kind of stuff were you playing when you first started? You look embarrassed. I don't know.
That's how we started. When we first kind of started playing together, and we were like about 12, 13 years old, we were writing our own. Was it?
We weren't 12.
No,
Exaggerating that.
was it? How old were I?
14.
14. Okay, 14, 12. All right, sorry.
That's a big difference, 12 to 14.
No,
I mean,
it's
come
a
on,
big
you're in your
difference.
teens by
Preteen.
exactly.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay.
Reinventing the history of the band.
It does. It changes. I'm totally. I don't know whether it's the influence of other people talking about our history or whether
Right.
it's
So
my
when we were 6.
history.
Yeah, when we were
When we were 6, we were starting to write our own songs, and because we didn't know how to play anyone else's, but then we started to kind of do covers, and I suppose that's how we sort of learnt the trade. Learnt how the process of writing songs. Each an individual instrument, how things work and stuff, and we started. I suppose it was probably bands like Nirvana and the Chili Peppers and Pearl Jam, and at that time, and Smashing Pumpkins and Rage Against the Machine. And
So the alternative rock scene that was coming out of the States 10, 12 years ago, I guess, is the stuff that you were influenced by at the beginning.
yeah.
When did you decide to move to Glasgow? I mean, that's a serious move, commitment to your music and to the band.
It was 4 years ago. About 5 years ago.
Maybe 7 now.
What was 10 years ago? What was the point though in the history of the band? What was it that sort of at some point you reached it and you said, okay, if we're serious about this, we got to go to Glasgow?
After school we all went off and studied in various places around the country, and we were kind of still meeting up on weekends and stuff and doing some gigs, but we decided if we were going to do it seriously, we had to go to Glasgow, so we kind of met up in our local pub and made that decision. That was about 5 years ago, so we went.
I don't know if it was a local pub, actually.
It was the Brig. It was the Brig Hotel. It was the Brig Hotel in Newport.
It was
Local pub.
you sure it wasn't a cafe? Or,
Yeah, exactly. Come on.
Okay.
It was a leisure centre.
Okay,
It was
yeah.
a leisure centre.
It's a supermarket.
I thought it was your car. Like,
My car, the back of my car.
Yeah.
And we went there, and we ended up. We all got a house together, but we ended up, to get money, we had pretty rubbishy jobs.
No, you sure it was a house? No, just joking. So you guys are
A
working.
bungle, a shed,
It was a massive house.
a mansion.
So you guys are working, and obviously you're now committed to this. We're going to do this seriously.
Yeah.
And what happened next? I mean, obviously you're writing your own material. You start recording.
Well, I mean, I don't know. What happened next?
we met Ruth.
Well, I'm sorry, Ruth. We've forgotten about Ruth.
Hi, Ruth.
Well, Ruth plays keyboards in the band, obviously, and that adds a whole other dimension to it.
She's also the drum technician as well. She likes to say to people, but keyboard player, stroke drum technician. And but yeah, we met Ruth in Glasgow about 3 figures. Let's say 3 years ago, and And that was, as Lee likes to say, the final piece of the puzzle, is it?
Jigsaw, jigsaw puzzle.
One of the two. And that's when that was when we kind of knew, you know, what we were wanting to do with the band stuff. We had the fight between the five of us. We were able to do it, you know, these ideas that were in our heads and stuff. And that's really when stuff started to happen. And we were mostly just really gigging solidly in Glasgow and going up the west coast of Scotland and just organising our own tours. But then, you know, it's a big story, management. Then you start touring more around the country, and you know, like the story really, you know, it's like you meet in lots of labels and finally find it, and then, you know, then you move out.
Oh God, don't sound so excited, Chris.
Well, you know.
This is what a flight from Europe will do to a
yeah. We got a record deal. It's really good.
A bunch of people. Well, tell us about making the record. When did you actually go in the studio and make this? I know you did a single first. You did a couple of other things, but tell us about the album.
We made the album just before, about this time last year. Was it? No, it was December. Oh God! The end of last year, we went in. Because we did it with Clive Langer and Alan Winstanley, and we'd been in the studio with them to record an EP track called Man Bites Man before that. And we kind of clicked, and, you know, we got on with them really well, and the ideas that they had about the way to take our music was the way we were, along the same lines that we were thinking. So we went down to, it was the very south of England near Hastings, and just basically moved into this kind of house stroke studio for a month, and
made the record.
And made it, yeah.
You talked about some of the stuff that you were listening to when you were kids, and some of the stuff, I guess, that you were playing as covers. When you hear this record, for me, I don't hear that. I mean, maybe a little Chili Peppers in there or something, but it's, you know, a lot of comparisons, which are inevitable. People talking about Talking Heads and talking about XTC and bands like that. Can you tell us about the music that the Dogs Die in Hot Cars did come up with, the sound that you guys, the type of songs that you record, I guess? I mean, lyrically, they're really intriguing to me. Musically, maybe you could just give us a taste.
Yeah, it's so difficult. It's so difficult to really kind of pin down and give you a kind of definite answer. I mean, it was like, I think, I mean, lots of people have compared us to bands like, as you say, like Talking Heads and XTC, and I think, and they're great bands, and, you know, we love them. You know, we think they're brilliant bands, but we kind of sort of got to that way on some route that didn't really involve them. And I think a lot of the stuff, and I think a lot of the kind of music that is coming out with the bands that we've been playing with from Britain, anyways, I think a lot of it's born more out of the things which we've been frustrated about. You know, I think that music, kind of new styles come through, and you know what I mean, because of what was happening before, there was we were hearing music and it was quite kind of bland and maybe a little bit self-obsessed and kind of angst-driven, and we were, you know, wanting to write kind of music that was sort of the opposite like that to us. You know, it was a reaction against that music which we were kind of getting bored with, you know.
It's interesting. We had Franz Ferdinand here earlier on this year, and they made a similar point at the end of the day, which was that they just wanted to make their whole thing is we wanted to make music that girls could dance to.
Yeah, totally. I mean, that's exactly how we feel as well, you know, and hopefully guys can dance to as well.
Well, listen, we're going to throw it back to you guys. You got another set of music. We're going to come back and give away some tickets to this show tonight, which will be your first gig in Los Angeles, which we're all excited about. Well, actually, a second after this one. But the Troubadour tonight, and we'll give away some tickets to that. We'll give away some copies of the new CD as well. I'm going to throw it back to you guys. It's Dogs Die in Hot Cars on One. It becomes eclectic.
This is God Help.